Hi, good morning. It is Monday, June the 9th, and wherever you are watching me from, welcome. I want to discuss something that is so important about mastery this morning. Oh, I forgot to say my name. My name is Lisa Dublin. Thank you for joining me on LinkedIn, YouTube, and hopefully Instagram comes on. I'm not sure, but let's begin with a quote from Bruce Lee this morning. Are you ready? This one really struck me, and I wanted to start with it this morning. Here's what he said. A couple, Bruce Lee was this major martial arts star and he made his name as doing that, right? And he said, I fear not the man who has practiced 10,000 kicks once, but I fear the man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times. You see the difference? One speaks of knowing something so intimately, so well that you become a force to be reckoned with, as opposed to the kind of magpie kind of concentration and focus that says you flit from one thing to another instead of focusing in and zooming in on that one thing. It's a bit of a circular argument that I just gave there, but we'll get into it and I'll kind of just, explain it as I go along. I believe that there is a place for mastery in this world. I believe that if you pursue the thing that you were called to do and you do it at that level with attending critical evaluation, measurement, and the trying again and again, that you will go way further, way faster than somebody who's flitting and doing so many things at the same time. What is that for you? I love to always speak about calling and about why is it very, very important for us to know what we were called to do, what we're good at, and what purpose we want to put it. That is my own definition of calling, right? That if you know what your gifts and your talents are, if you know what the skills are that you're good at, and you apply those gifts to a bigger purpose than you have a calling. It's endearing, it's sustaining. Even in the hard times, you don't, buck, you don't like balk at it because you're able to sustain it. So let's talk about this thing of mastery. And I thought we would begin by looking at a couple of situations where people have just been masters in their field. So let me pull that up and then we can just take over from there. So why is mastery important? I think all we have to do is to look at a few people's lives and to see that, wait a minute, it's super important. Of course, mastery is revealed just, I think, a day or two ago when Coco Gauff, she won the French Open. And, it was mastery that got her there because I think a couple years before that, she had just copped out. She didn't make it past the first round. And she relates the story of how she felt defeated, but got back in the game, got back into practice, and becomes the second, I think, is it like since Serena Williams, then she is that second, I guess, Black person to win the French Open. It's a big deal. I'm going to write something about it, but I saw something that she put on Instagram. That's Coco. And look at me saying Coco like she's my friend. Oh my goodness. No way. But here's the thing. She took a screenshot of a paper that she had been carrying around, apparently, where she had written over and over again, I will win the French Open. I will win the French Open. Now, for you to be able to back up a promise to yourself like that, a dream like that, you obviously have to get into that 10,000 kicks, that 10,000 times of practice in one kick. That means you know it intimately. You like she knows the game. That's exactly what it means. Let's go to some other greats, however. So, of course, we all know about Serena Williams, the tennis legend. From 1999 to 2017, do you know how many Grand Slam titles she won? 23, and the most by any player in the Open era. And here's the thing, when we talk about practice with Serena Williams, what stands out is it wasn't just about practice. And stay with me, we have our own Caribbean hero in the mix right here. So stay with me, we're going to hear about that person as well. She wasn't just practicing, she and her team analyzed every match. They tracked performance metrics and they made constant micro adjustments. So it wasn't just about, you know what, I'm just going to be practicing, my backhand like how many 10,000 times. No, there was always measurement, evaluation, and adjustment to make sure that every other time she practiced over and over again, it was an improvement on the first time. How many of us, with our gift, practice? I'm going to leave you at the end of my half hour with you with a very simple process that I teach my clients and I practice myself on how to get better with the thing that you know you were meant to do. And let me not get romantic with it or dramatic. It literally can be applied to anything that you do. This little three-step process that I'm going to tell you at the end of the session. So stay with me and let's talk about the greats and how mastery of one thing has made them who they are. So that is Serena Williams for you. And here's what her coach. I love to speak to people's coaches because it gives you like an inside view of um the mindset of what it takes to be them, of how they practice. So always listen to what coaches say about the people who they coach, basically. So here's what Serena Williams' coach said. He said this: we never repeat errors. We break them down, study, correct, and try again. That is how greatness is made. Can I say that again for the people in the back? We never repeat errors. We break them down, study, correct, and try again. And that is how greatness is made. I hope that inspires you today, just wherever you are, whatever you are doing, whatever the week holds for you. If you've decided that this is where you're going to pitch your tent, this is the thing you want to do for the rest of your life. We just have a blueprint right here of how to go about doing it. But that's Serena Williams. Let's move to basketball. Let's go to Kobe Bryant. And we know, he's called the Black Mamba, and I think there's a reason for that. There was relentless wanting to get better with this guy. And he's known for shooting 800 jump shots per day during the off season. Okay? And what made it count was not just the volume of practice, almost getting to 10,000 times, I guess, but that he reviewed game footage every day, identified flaws, and practiced specific corrections. So, what you see with mastery is that there is incremental progress that comes from the ability to self assess and the ability to face the cringe-worthy moments when you make mistakes and looking them in the face, in the eye, and be like, okay, I made those mistakes. That's how I sounded. That's how I came across. These are the errors that I made. I have to try better next time. And not being afraid to look at your errors, not being embarrassed about it, but to have that sense of, if I don't look at the thing that is embarrassing, I'm not going to get to the next level. And even in speaking, when I coach my clients one-on-one or in group coaching, we just make it a safe space to make errors. Like your coaching session becomes your sandbox. This is where you play so that when you stand on stages, you can just be the master and nobody knows how you were put together or what practice, whatever was made to be able to make you become that person who's confident, that person who's calm, that person who just exudes mastery, not because they're putting it on, but because that's really who they are. So that is Kobe Bryant. So here's somebody else who we can all relate to, especially in the Caribbean where I'm from. Usain Bolt, fastest man alive. I always like to see what is the likelihood that Usain Bolt's last name is Bolt. Let me just leave that there for a minute. You guys, words have power. I don't care what anybody says. Words have power. Like your last name is Bolt and you're the fastest man alive. Like, well, kind of, yeah. So we know that he ran for less than 2 minutes total across 3 Olympic Games. Well, yes, obviously. He ran for 2 minutes total across 3 Olympic Games, but he trained for over 20 years. Now, his famous coach, Glenn Mills, he said this, that Every microsecond of his form was filmed, evaluated, and adjusted. It was not just printing. This man was put together scientifically. See that? Now, of course, we might not have a whole bevy of coaches and that kind of thing. That kind of the army around us to help us to be masters. But here's the thing I've known about life: if you start to push the car, most likely people will come to help you to get up the hill. So you have to start with what you have. You have to start with the recognition: I have potential. I'm meant for more. I'm not going to stay mediocre. That's not in my language, my vocabulary. No, I'm meant for more. If you are that person who treats yourself like that, then a couple things become very evident and very necessary. Obviously, as we said, the need for practice and the need for evaluation. You know what? I think I'm going to go ahead and give you, it's a nice time to actually segue into when I don't have a team behind me, but I've got this desire to get better. How do I do my 10,000, my one kick 10,000 times? Maybe there might not be coaches. Maybe I mightn't have even, just casual people to come and help me to do the practice, because to do one kick 10,000 times, it speaks of the loneliness of the process. It speaks of the times when no one is around to help you. It speaks of the times when perhaps you are doing this alone over and over and over again. So then, if you're in your head doing it, how are you sure that there's evaluation? I've got a simple method I'd like to tell you about, and this is it, right? After every speech that I give, actually spoke on Friday. I had a speech with some youth in a basketball academy, and I was talking to them about how to set a goal. Now, I usually speak to adults, okay? Even if I've taught teens, and sometimes I coach teens as well on confidence and on speaking, that kind of thing. But primarily, I've been focused on adults for a while. But like I used to run a Speak with Confidence program for teens and for the little ones, like from 11 to 13. Like when I tell you these are the hardest people to impress, oh my goodness, right? Hardest people to impress, right? But here's the thing: even in giving speeches and presentations, whether I might be on a stage with 4,000 or a stage with just in front in a gym, that's where I was, and speaking to teen girls who clearly, I think they appreciated it because I got responses, and some of them came up to me after. Even after doing that, I take that responsibility upon myself as a speaker who wants to get better. And I ask myself three questions. Are you ready? What worked? What didn't work? What will I do better next time? And that simple attitude to my practice, and that those three simple questions that I ultimately apply after having done any speaking engagement, it makes sure that I adjust simple things, powerful things, atomic things for the next time. And I have a great example I'd like to share with you. This year, I've been speaking quite a lot at conferences and that kind of thing. And so there was this conference that I spoke at where it was a panel after, so each of the speakers gave their presentation, and then we had a lovely bubbly host and she put us all on a panel, so we were before the audience and asking questions that they brought to us. Now, there was a conference booklet and all of that, but I didn't go up on stage with it. What happened is I forgot one of the speakers' names. Y'all, that was like major embarrassment, okay? Like, how do you deal with that? And worse yet, like I'm very comfortable on stage. Perhaps like I looked at that after in my evaluation, as in that you have to strike a lovely balance between performance on stage and being deeply authentic and super comfortable. And I feel like sometimes I kind of cross over into being too comfortable, and I have to pull myself back into the bounds of If this is seen again, would you like what you said, to be known and to be recorded and to be played again? All of those things. So I forgot her name, and I'm not one for like just putting on an act. So on stage, I was like, I'm so sorry, I forgot your name, while I was referring to something she said. And this girl did not take it super well, which was, I mean, because it was in poor taste to say, I forgot your name, I'm sorry, like, what's your name, whatever, okay? I didn't say what's your name, but I said, I'm so sorry, I forgot your name. And I referred to her because I really did not know her name. So I did it, saw her reaction, and knew that I had messed up. In my evaluation of my speech after, that was one of the things that I put as what didn't work. As in, I forgot my panelist, my colleague's name on stage. That's not very nice. And so in when I went to the last question of what will I do better next time, what would you have put there? Like, what would you have done? So, having enough experience now with those conferences, there's always a booklet, right? And all the speakers' names are in there. So, my next panel discussion was about a week or two later, because I had done the practice of, evaluating that previous speech. When it came time for all the panelists to get on the stage, this time Lisa Dublin had her conference booklet in her hand. And I was comfortably and confidently able to refer to everybody on the panel by name. That's how you do it. If you want to be a master in anything, even as we heard from Serena Williams, coach. Let me say that again because I feel like it's something that can actually thread through our entire week this week. And her coach said this: we never repeat errors. We break them down. We study, correct, and try again. That is how greatness is made. And I feel like also there's an urgency to this, that you have to be urgent about wanting to do better and wanting to be top of your game. What does professional look like? What does mastery look like? Who are the greats in your industry, in your career path? Once you've decided on that, go for it. Go for it. Don't stay stagnant. Don't stay the same. Know what the trends are. Know what accounts for being at the top of that game. So for me, I'm all about communication, all about speaking, all about coaching speakers to be their best selves. How do you do that? Through relentless practice, through facing yourself in coaching sessions and being okay with what you see, because you understand that it's not going to be the end of the world, that you are going to get better. On the other side of practice is mastery. And let's go to some of the benefits of mastery right now. What are some of the benefits of being a master at your game? I feel, let me stop this I feel thing. What is wrong with me this morning? One of the benefits of attaining mastery in any field is that you truly give people deep value. It's you truly give people deep value, rare value, things that they cannot get anywhere else. Can you imagine the mastery and the expertise of somebody who has practiced one kick 10,000 times? Can you imagine the mastery of a speaker who has stepped on stage 10,000 times? Can you imagine the mastery of the cake decorator who has decorated 10,000 times, done it over and over again, evaluated? That is how greatness is built. So that's the first one, because I am never about just the income. I'm about, if I can make an impact and make an income, let's go. And the way that I know to do this from my humble experience is to apply your deepest felt and demonstrated gifts and talents to some kind of order or purpose bigger than yourself. Mine is, my gifts are speaking, writing, coaching. That's it, right? I do these things best. I apply those gifts to that relentless desire to help people win. And I always say, like, why should you not win? Why should you not win? You should win because winning is better than losing. I've been on both sides and I prefer to be on the winning side. And I don't like to see people lose. There are two ways that we lose. And we lose in life because of things within us that make us debilitating, that make us not able to rise to the occasion. Simple things like a lack of focus. Simple things like being so like fearful that you dare not step out. Simple things like, wondering about what other people will think about you and you're not even on their mind. Like, get over yourself. Not everybody's thinking of you. Step out and do what you have to do because some of these same people are just like you in their silos and in their little caves, cowering, waiting on one person to just turn on the light. And here you are being in the cave with everybody else. These are the things from within that debilitate us. And for me, like with coaching, I help people to step out in confidence. Like, stop holding on to the things that were there for you way before, and that maybe you failed in the past and you're still holding on to that burden of failure. And nobody cares. And those who care don't even matter. So what are you waiting for? Right? These are the things within. I'm also the person who is the friend of the underdog and the friend of the person who everybody says, who do you think you are? Like, yeah. There's some people, they're just bright, they're just talented, they're just gifted, and everybody hates them. Except that they're human beings as well. So I get a lot of those kinds of people. I coach a lot of those kinds of people because I think somebody needs to understand them and to be able to, make a space for that kind of greatness, because that's exactly what it is. There's a way that you handle people who have a lot going for them, that you still have to be, it's just a client, yes, but you have to understand your place in the world. You have to understand when you speak, you shift things. So you have to be careful how you speak. At the same time, you cannot be bound by what everybody else thinks about you. So let's go. So there are lots of people who, because of systems, let's talk racism, because of, administration, people ganging up on them, employers not really, things outside of them can also militate against your victory in certain areas. Is that not true? And for me, through speaking and the inspiration that comes there, through writing and the deep contemplation that I perhaps provide there, and also in coaching where you unlock your own mind, where you unlock what's already in you. It's not anything a coach puts into you. It has to have been there for it to now just come out and to flourish, to sprout, to bear fruit. That's what it's about. So for me, applying speaking, coaching, writing to that purpose to help you to win, like, why should you not win? Then I have my calling. Then I keep on showing up. I've been doing Basement Chronicles since 2021. What keeps me going? Well, I'm in my element. I'm doing what's easy. If you ask me, let's see. What would be difficult for me? This is easy. I've grown into this, like doing media, coming on video. It's all set up from who I am in private, like who my partner is. He's somebody who's in the media, so it was easy to set this up. All of these things, I've just simply tapped into what is easy for me to do and difficult for others. That's what it is. And that's how you know what your gifts are. What is easy for you to do and difficult for others. What is easy for you to do and difficult for others to do. That gives you a clue as to what your gifts are and what you can apply to the problems of the world. Because the world needs you. I don't care if you are listening to me today and you're 16, if you're 25, if you're 50, or if you like, sunset years, 75, the world still needs you. You're still alive. You still have purpose. How can you still apply your gifts and talents to some bigger purpose than you? And that will keep you going. That would be your calling. You know what I've been thinking about lately, even in this, like talking about focus, as we get older or as we change, let's say that way, obviously our focus is going to change as well. I think the calling changes sometimes. Perhaps if you have a certain calling for a certain time, and you accomplish that goal, it might not be a lifelong endeavor. You might get so much help along the way that mission accomplished. And then you find yourself looking around again to be like, okay, I believe that it's time for me to do something else. I feel led to do something else right now. I also do believe in different areas of our lives, we might have different callings. Obviously, if you are married and you have kids, you definitely have two callings. Okay. You have a relationship one, you have a marriage calling to be the best partner you can be, and you obviously have the calling to be a parent. And that, I don't think ever, like, you can never put that responsibility or that calling down. So I'm talking about these foundational ones, as well as those ones who are career wise, even then focus and what the demands are at the moment and what you're feeling. It might dictate that you do something as opposed to the other. But please remember this, right? What makes it very easy or more palatable to be the person who has practiced one kick 10,000 times is you're dedicated to it. You would have to love it. There is no way I could practice a math sum 10,000 times. Oh, no. No, nope, 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 nope. Mm, I'm okay at math, but where I'm gifted is in words. So I could read a dictionary for you. I could write essays for you. I could stay here and write posts that are lengthy, that appeal to me and nobody reads. Oh no, I'm not gonna call that on myself. I'm getting better at it, right? But just words. I mean, words. And how I've always been from a kid, from going to primary school, Ave Maria, that gift was always in me. And went to high school, St. Joseph's Convent, went to A level, went to UE, did my master's. I've got two of them. It was always in words. Thank God my parents were not ones like, you're supposed to be this or that. They just let the gifts lead. And, I've taken that on. I'm so grateful they did this, because I would not be here today. And I'm doing the same thing for my sons. Like, my prayer is, let their gift make room for them. Let them walk in their calling from now on. So when you think about calling, it's tied to this topic today of mastery. When you become in love with who you are, what you can do, and what you can offer the world, then it becomes infinitely easier to do what Bruce Lee is saying to us here today. Okay? I fear not. I wonder if that does not even sound like Bruce Lee, to tell you the truth. Like, why would this man speak like he was in the Bible? Like, what is this about? I fear not the man who has practiced 10,000 kicks once, but I fear the man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times. Thus says Bruce Lee. Like, that doesn't even sound like, I must go research exactly, like, is it really him? I heard it. I know the quote, so I went looking for the author of it, which is how I have it today, right? But here's the thing. What can you practice 1,000 times? This speaks of stop being a magpie. Stop jumping from shiny object to shiny object. You stay with one thing. You make such deep inroads in it that not only are you the gift to the world, you are also the person that talks of niche as well. When you are that skilled at one thing, you command a higher price. That's why we pay more for um, cardiologists and gynecologists than we do for GPs, general practitioners, because they have deeper knowledge, insight, expertise in one area. Now, why is that important? Think about it. The cardiologist can solve deeper problems than the GP. If you went to the GP and you had perhaps a heart attack or something of this sort, and what he would be able, or she would be able to do for you is perhaps not as valuable and life saving as what the cardiologist, who has seen the problem and knows how to solve it, who doesn't have to go all around finding out, okay, what exact, no, because they have deep knowledge in it. They're able to solve more difficult problems. And so mastery should be pursued because you can solve deeper problems and thereby command a higher price. That's what it is. That's business 101. If you solve problems, you get paid. If you don't solve problems, you don't. The deeper problems and the more difficult problems you solve is the higher price you can command. So what problems can you solve for people with the gift that God gave you? I feel very strongly about this topic, honestly. Like, we should be pursuing a calling. We should be walking in our gifts. And that makes it so much easier to do life and to stick with one thing. So I pray that for you today, wherever you are. Kid, there's my dog in the back. He's always here. Kid, adult, retiree, whoever you are today, you still have a contribution to make. If you focus in on what you're best at, you will bless the world and you will solve the most difficult problems that there are to solve. So thank you for watching, you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow. This was day 17. So tomorrow we do day 18 of my little I'm on a please subscribe to my channel. I forgot to say that. Please subscribe to my channel. It is on YouTube. It's called Basement Chronicles. If you're watching me on the computer, you can just scan the QR code here with your phone and go subscribe right there on YouTube. So I appreciate the likes, the follows, the subscribes. Okay, let's do this. See you tomorrow, guys. Bye.